and Mrs. Dice also. So I've got Al Helser here. He'd like to say a couple words about the Shade Tree Commission and some things we're doing and how these trees got here, and then we'll go on from there. So, but again, thanks for showing up. We appreciate the support. You guys did well. We got a good turnout.
Well, I've had the opportunity to be on the Shade Tree Commission, I don't know, just about 8, 10, 12 years, whatever that is. And this is one of the coolest things I think we've really done. And these trees were actually donated by Wade and Gatt Nursery. Now, at first they thought there was going to be 1 tree, and then they found out there were going to be 3 trees, and then we said, well, now, wouldn't you really like to donate all 3 trees? And so they ended up donating all 3 trees. And the only thing the Shade Tree Commission did was we had to pay the transportation of these trees down from Wade and Gatt. And that's quite a story, because this hole, if you were down here when they dug this, I could get in the hole and it was about clear up to my chest. I mean, this is a huge hole to transport these big trees. And they came down, they dug a hole, and then they took this dirt up to Wade and Gatt, got the big spade and brought this tree down first, one at a time, put it in the hole, went back up the Wade, well, dug a hole over here, put the dirt up the Wade and Gatt, brought the next tree down, did the same thing. So they made 3 trips back and forth to get these wonderful trees down here for us. So they really are quite a thing. They don't look quite as big as they did on this huge truck coming down from Wade and Gatt, but it was quite a process and really a neat thing. And the Shade Tree Commission, this Arch Park really is one of our top priorities right now. And hopefully next spring there will be daffodils and what other things? Crocuses. About 3,500 bulbs or so were planted in the dike up here. And so they should be just kind of blooming and really be nice. And this is something new for me, because we used to be shade tree, period. You know, that's all we did was shade trees. Then we got this beautification thing, which I know nothing about. And so they started getting flowers and all this other kind of stuff in here. So it's become quite a project and really a good deal. So this is great. And Doc here, he's gone out to Ralston Art Memorial. They're the ones that actually did the plaques here for us. And we're starting to put more and more of these out, and they seem to work pretty well and hold up well for us. So if you have any questions about, you know, anything else what we're doing
Alan,
or whatever.
I see there's a bur oak down there for John.
Yep.
Is this a poplar? What do we have?
This is a linden.
Silver linden. Okay.
And we've started to plant quite a few of the lindens around. There's quite a few on Sandusky Street coming in from the McDonald's on Sandusky Street in. There's probably about 50 of those trees, and they seem to do well, and they hold up well, and so they're pretty good tree for us.
And what's Chuck's tree?
There's a bur oak, and then there's a scarlet oak.
Okay.
Bur oak,
John's is a bur oak. I saw that on
yes, and this is a scarlet oak. They're both red oak. Is one of them a white oak?
No, I couldn't remember. Scarlet.
Okay, yeah, there's a scarlet. They're both red oak family, and they should live, you know, 200, 250 years or whatever. We won't worry about that, but they should survive a long time down here. I've said enough.
Acorns? They drop acorns?
Yes, yes. So we'll have lots of squirrels down here picking them up and all that kind of good stuff. Deer coming over the dike, which they already do, and all kinds of good things. So that's a little bit from the Shade Tree Commission. Now we turn it over to the official part to Mayor Dick Mavis.
Thank you, Al. Thank you to the Commission, the Shade Tree Beautification Committee. I don't think there are 3 other people that I would be as honored in, as I am tonight, honoring these 3 people. John and Chuck are here. Dory, we have fond memories of, and we have on the plaque there the caretaker of the flowers at Arch Avenue Park. She lived close by. She found this an easy trip over here to maintain the flowers in this park. So we will be forever grateful for the work she did. In putting some remarks together for Chuck Dice and John Booth. Chuck Dice, member of council 14 years, president for 23 years. He started all this in 1966. Now, with the help of Mrs. Brown, I wanted to bring back memories of 1966. The average cost of a new house was $14,200 in '66. The average income per year was $6,900. Gas prices, 32 cents per gallon. Average cost of a new car, $2,650. And the average cost of a dishwasher, the electric kind, $119.95. The U.S. had nearly 500,000 troops in Vietnam at the time, and the Houston Astrodome was built. It gives you some idea, Chuck Dice, when you started and where we are. I didn't say what the price of gasoline was today. I didn't want to scare everybody what a house cost. Chuck Dice, thank you. And I'm guessing there probably are not more than one or two people who know that 16 years ago for this mayor's race, you and I had a good primary race. And you were an honorable opponent. Appreciate that.
Certainly were too.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Chuck, we don't have a sound system, and I don't want to ask you to get up, but I'm going to get to John. But would you like to say a few words about your service, the number of years since '66 has passed?
Well, I don't really want to talk about myself. I do, right off the top, I want to thank the Tree Commission. I want to thank Wade and Gatton for the honor that they are giving me and my wife and John this evening. You don't know really how much it means to me. I'm particularly honored that you thought about my wife, Dory. I want to tell you just a little bit about some of the things. She loved flowers. She would look over here and see there was no flowers planted. We didn't even have, I think, well, when I went on council, we didn't have a park committee of council. That's another story sometime you would like to know. You were mentioning figures. I'll just throw one out. I was asked to be the chairman of the new park committee of council. They said, we'll give you one employee for the year, and we will give you a total, including the salary of the employee, of $9,500 for the year. And there, you can tell them what it costs each year now to run the park system in Mount Vernon. In any case, Dory got to where she wanted to come over. She wanted to plant flowers in the spring. She watered them in the summer. She weeded them. She took care of them, and then she kind of mothered the whole park. She looked after different things in the park. If there was papers blowing around, she'd stop and she'd pick up the papers. If there was some kids doing some mischief in the park, she would stop and get out of the car, either talk to them, or when they seen her coming, they got to know her and they'd run away. But she did things like that because she wanted to do it, because she wanted the park to look good. She was, in her own way, I'll put it this way, in her own way she was a rather shy person. She didn't really want any attention on herself, but I know that somewhere up above us tonight, she's asking me to tell all of you, thank you, thank you, thank you for the honor that you're giving her this evening. Thank you all very much for coming. I appreciate it.
Thank you for those informative words and kind of giving us a little history, not only of council and your experience, but also for Dory and her contributions. The next man that's on the agenda for honoring tonight, John Booth. John Booth came on council in 1972. He served 21 years as a member and 13 and a half years as president of the council. For those of you wondering what happened in 1972, and again, thank you, Mrs. Brown, the average cost of a new house had gone up from $14,200 in '66 to $27,550. The average income was up to $11,800, and the average monthly rent was $165. The cost of a gallon of gas was 55 cents. The Munich Olympic terrorist attack killed 11 Israeli athletes, occurred that year, and the five White House operatives were arrested for burglarizing the offices of the National Committee for Democrat Party at Watergate and started that scandal. That was 1972, John. I'm not sure that was a real good year.
Of course, this isn't the best one we ever had.
True. I've been mayor for 16 years, and John, outside of a couple of years, has been president of council. And I tell you that John Booth has this wonderful demeanor about him, treats everyone fairly and with courtesy. But when he needs to put the hammer down, he can put the hammer down. John, I like that quality about you. Thank you for that. John Booth has been a big part of our community, and I found something odd. Now this, everybody knows this is 2nd Ward down here. Chuck started here in 2nd Ward. Now, I didn't realize till we started doing this that John Booth started in 2nd Ward. I knew where John lived up on Sandusky for a number of years. Guess I didn't put all that together because I knew Chuck had such longevity, and I didn't think we could have two representatives from 2nd Ward, but one of them was president. So John Booth has stepped forward and been a great leader for our city for this many years. And John Booth, I want to thank you personally for not only being president of the council and serving that many years, making our city a better place to live, but also helping me along the way. I appreciate your advice very much, as I have Chuck's. Would you like to say a few words?
Well, not as many as Chuck, but and I've said this many times before, but this man was my mentor. And he'd been here 5 years when I got here. So, but anyway, I'd rather look at the city overall because it's changed so much. There's been so many improvements. The parks in particular in the last 35 years have grown and changed dramatically with so many facilities added. I think we had a small police department with a couple of cruisers. We had a small fire department with a couple of trucks. So it took a lot of work all through those years. In the mid-'80s, we brought the paramedics into the city. All that has made our city so much better and so much stronger. Our streets are better, but I'm proud of the parks. And Chuck's been the park chairman committee ever since he's been on council, other than president. So, you know, we've had a lot of good chairmen in a lot of committees, and I've worked with 5 mayors and many, many council members, and they've all tried to do a good job. And we have a good council now, and we've had many good council members. So I just appreciate all their support for me and the respect they've given me through the years, and just want to say thank you.
You know, when we have the opportunity to go out and sell the city of Mount Vernon, we talk a lot about our virtues. Parks is one of the great opportunities we have to talk about, and the other thing is leadership. A lot of the people who have lived here over the years will attest to the fact the city has had good leadership. 2 of those people are with us tonight, and I want to thank you for not only the time I've been here, but for all those years before. Mount Vernon is a better place because you both served so many years. Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Can I make one quick comment? I forgot something.
It's your time.
I have to say it because the gentleman's here tonight. Dave Glass probably is thinking, come December the 31st, I won't have to get all of those calls from Chuck Dice down in the 2nd Ward on Arch Avenue. Well, Dave, let me just assure you, I'm still living down here, and I still have your phone number, and you will be hearing from me.
We have council members here this evening. Start over here with, we have former council, Larry Gardner here. We'll maybe get back to Larry, but Bruce, remarks.
I just think that very well deserved. I mean, there's no, as you said, nobody here is more well deserving than these 2 individuals. The hours and I figured somewhere between 300 and 400 meetings that John's been to, and more than that for Chuck. It's a lot of city council meetings, and we appreciate that effort. You know, they've paid forward for all those years, and we appreciate all their work.
Thank you. Rebecca.
I hope I don't start tearing up here. I just feel so honored to have had the pleasure of working with both of you gentlemen. I have grown and learned so much from both of you that I don't think I could have done my job without either of you. Mr. Dice gave me the best advice my first year. Sit there, listen, and ask a lot of questions the first 6 months, and I am eternally grateful and just very honored to have been able to work with both of you, so thank you.
Thank you. Mike Hillier.
Just in short, I don't think you could say the two gentlemen's name in the city of Mount Vernon that somebody didn't have a good thing to say about. I've only been working with him a short time. Mr. Dice has known me long before I was born. Ran around with my parents for a lot of years. And, but no, the respect they bring to Mount Vernon, I appreciate that very much, and thank you for what you've done.
And Nancy Vale.
Well, I am delighted that Arch Avenue Park is so beautiful. I think it's going to be a nice place for families, for picnics, and lots of things. My dad thought an awful lot of Chuck Dice, and working with John and Chuck through these years has been always a joy, because both of them have always agreed to disagree. We all have. We've all cared about one another and what's happened to one another and to our families, and that means an awful lot. We've been a close-knit organization at council, and I hope that will continue forever because it is very meaningful. I remember when this park used to have circuses, carnivals, a skating rink, and all those things, of course, are in the past, but there are a lot of fond memories, not only for me, but for a lot of other people about Arch Avenue Park, and I hope that the public will come down now and see how nice it is. The Kiwanians have put up a nice climb, what do we call it, a climb house for the kids. They're behind you, Mayor, and it's just a delight. And best wishes, Chuck and John, as you journey throughout the rest of your lives. God bless.
John Fair.
Yes, sir. I just would like to say that Charlie Dice's parents and my grandparents were best of friends growing up here in Mount Vernon. And so we go back quite a ways, Charlie. I want to say to John Booth that under his mentorship, I've learned an awful lot. And had it not been for him and Charlie Dice, the road would have been a lot rockier, I think. And I still ask for guidance and counseling from John Booth. He's, I consider, a friend, a battle buddy, and I'm going to miss both these gentlemen. But congratulations. It's a great legacy to leave, and we'll stay in touch, right?
We talked about the Shade Tree Beautification Committee. Sharon Fair over here is the chair of that. Sharon, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you to, this is part of your planning process here in your commission. Any comments?
I'd just like to say that I'm really happy, really pleased that we were able to do this for such fine people as John Booth and Charlie Dice, to commemorate their hard work that they have given to the city of Mount Vernon for all these years. It's made Mount Vernon a much better place to live because of their efforts. So I applaud them both. Thank you.
Mrs. Brown is clerk of council and assistant to the mayor. She's had the opportunity to work with both of these gentlemen. Mrs. Brown, this is the time you can just give that one little bad remark about them, if you know it.
Oh no, they've been great. I was new to council, and they gave me all the instruction I needed to do my job. They were great leaders for me and for the community.
I suspected that. Larry Gardner, you're former councilman. You've actually worked with both of these gentlemen on council. Any remarks as we wind things down?
Well, John and Chuck hired me in the 70s. And we worked 10 years together, and it was just a great experience. Nothing's been said here tonight that really, it's more than that. they're just great people, and I loved working with them, and I still love them both. And it's not a shame that we're losing them because we've been so good to have them. And I appreciate them both. So this is their day, though, their night. So.
Thank you. Now that we've been around, David, I know you were picked out earlier.
Mayor, there's Paula down there. That's the corner.
Paula, also a former council person, now Board of Education, but she did spend some time with us, a few years.
Sure.
Paula.
Well, I think planting trees is a wonderful metaphor for the service that Charlie Dice and John Booth have given to the city. We plant them today, and they're maybe a little bit smaller, but for future generations, they'll grow and be here long after we are. And I think the service that these two gentlemen have given is exactly the same. It's going to be around a long time after their service years are over. And I don't think any of us can say thank you enough for all that you have done. Those two words are just too small. But thank you so much.
Thank you.